inside.
This story is brand new tonight. The debate over remote work for public employees. An advocate for government workers says it makes government employers competitive in the job market. However, others think it's time to bring those people back to the office. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Dunn.
I'm Deborah Knapp. K2 investigator Wright Gazaway is live at City Hall with the story. Right, you've got some new data on just how many employees are working from home for the city of Portland and state of Oregon.
Yeah, it might surprise some people. We got these numbers in a records request. The state has about 44,600 employees. Close to half work from home at least half of their work week. The city of Portland has about 8,500 employees. Close to 30%, 1 in 3, work from home at least half their week. The city and the state are downsizing their office space footprint to save money. Portland's catchphrase is the city that works. More and more of that work is happening outside city offices. About 2,500 employees work half or all their time at home. Just last month, Portland Mayor Keith Wilson made one of the biggest changes since the pandemic, ordering about 700 supervisors and managers to the office full time. He said this: working face-to-face cultivates the collaboration, camaraderie, and innovation our city deserves. We are facing a crisis, and we need to act like it.
I don't think government has to go reinvent the wheel.
Peter Morrissey is the Senior Director of Talent and Strategy for the Volcker Alliance. The New York-based firm advocates for the public sector workforce. Peter says instead of a blanket rule, governments should align their workforce with the market they're in. In other words, attorneys should mimic law firms, finance teams should mirror accounting firms, and so on.
The thing I urge governments to think about is if you adopt a policy out of step with the private market and the nonprofit market and other levels of government in your region, who is going to walk first? It's not going to be your weakest employees.
The city spokesperson says it bases work locations on factors like whether a job requires face-to-face contact, customer service, or the use of tools only available on site. A spokesperson for the mayor says he has no plans to make further changes at the moment. The state of Oregon also has no plans to bring 20,000 employees back to the office full-time. The governor says hybrid employees are in the office at least 2 days per week. Instead, the state has set a goal to downsize its office footprint by 30% by the end of 2027 to reflect the pandemic-era work model. A spokesperson for Senate Republicans tells me, quote, many of our constituents who work in-person jobs expect state employees to be equally accessible and engaged in their workplaces. Senate Republicans believe a balanced approach, one that prioritizes in-person work, would better serve the public.
I think where you run into trouble is when either advocacy organizations or individual citizens are sort of not able to understand the relationship between the inputs of tax dollars and the outputs of goods and services. And so then it is easy to say, oh, well, these people aren't doing anything because they're remote. Now, the city has faced pushback in the past from unions when trying to bring employees back to the office. We got one union's take on this on K2.com right now. We're live at City Hall. Wright Gazaway, K2 News.
Okay, Wright, thank you for that. Here's more on why that downsizing is so important at the state level. The state's administrative services surveyed 81 agencies. They found half of them are using 50% of their office space or less. A third are using 25% of their office space or less. The state leases 4.4 million square feet of office space. It pays $128 million a year for that. Do you have a story for Wright? Email him at K2investigates@K2.com or leave a voicemail at 503-231-4205.